The DJ Roundtable Show is live. It's the DJ Roundtable Show. Tell another DJ about the show. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe.
It is Tuesday night. It is 8 o'clock. Do you know where your DJ's at? I know I am. I'm here with you. Yes, it's another DJ Roundtable. And as always, we got some great people here. And actually, we got Jeff back. Jeff back from tons of time with his kids, with sports and stuff, and enjoying that time with his family. And of course, you know, a lot of guys are in and out. Brentley's been in and out too with his daughter with stuff, and everybody's got things going on. Yeah, you know, tonight we're missing a couple people because they got stuff going on. So you never know who's here, who's there, who's anywhere. We appreciate you guys all watching, especially in the chat. I see DJ Mikey Mike. He's in the chat. And I see Jim is in the chat as well. Welcome, 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 gentlemen. And I hope everyone who is watching, we welcome you all to the show. And if you are watching over on the tubes, do me a favor. Make sure that you do a couple of things. First thing first, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check the bell icon, share it with a friend. It helps out tremendously because it's a free thing for you, but it tells the algorithm that we're good people. This is a good show. If you like the show, do me a favor, put a thumbs up. That helps out tremendously. And the more you talk down below, give your 2 cents, your tomfoolery, your shenanigans, whatever you want to put down there, it does help the show. Just make sure you keep everything comment nice and clean. No bad words, you know. That's, you know, we keep things very simple here, but I also like to talk about some other simple things, and that is other great shows out there. First thing first, Wednesday night over on the tubes, you have James King. He usually has King's Court. He's over there either going through someone's video or he's doing shootouts on equipment and everything else over there. Go check him out. He's got some great videos up there. If you're looking for some budget speakers, he has some place, you know. And as always, on Thursday nights, there's 2 shows. First thing first, it's Dwayne and his main man, Crazy Mike, who's in the chat talking about a piece of pizza, and he's never seen a dirty piece of pizza. Well, hopefully you never see a dirty piece of pizza. But we don't want some dirty words in there. But again, we're talking about pizza. This is the 3rd week in a row talking about pizza. Why not? But Thursday night, they have Cue It Up over on YouTube. They go live for about 2 hours long. And if you want to go back and forth between them and also Start to Spin, you know, those are the 2 shows to watch. Go on and so forth, so on. I've been on Dwayne's show multiple times. And also, I've been on Start to Spin. So, and of course, I'm on other places as well. So, again, if you're looking for stuff to watch, if you can't watch it, you know, first time around, watch the replays. Give it thumbs up. Go support Dwayne. Go watch his show. Go support Mike. Go watch his show with Dwayne. Dwayne runs over there. He gets everything taken care of. He has a lot of great episodes, and Start to Spin has a lot of great info as well. Make sure you support them. And don't forget, Mondays at noon, I try to get noon, Central Time, and get out on YouTube the videos. So follow, like, subscribe. Everyone, greatly appreciate it. Everyone here has shows and channels, except for Chris. Gotta get Chris to get a YouTube channel. He's got his Facebook. He's starting to use it a little bit. Gotta get him to do some more. Oh, there you go. Just gave Dwayne a follow over there. Great. Thanks, Jim. As always, it's greatly appreciated. Make sure you follow everyone's channels. Links are down below. One other thing also, I know Sean is not here. He has his DJ Biz School. He has classes up there. Hopefully in the fall and winter time, if he's not too busy, he'll get some more shows up there. Tonight's episode is going to be kind of like DJ Biz School for you guys, and it's going to give some business information. But he has his photo booth. The photo booth right now, he's doing his photo booth thing. He's selling photo booths. And if you want my discount I got, DJ Roundtable, get $350 off plus Black Friday special. So if you're doing that, look for that special, Black Friday special, $350 off plus Black Friday toys, gifts, trinkets, whatever you want to look at. So it's a really good time to buy. He just got another shipment in, and as soon as they come in, they're going right out. So make sure that you are, if you're looking for a photo booth, you give him some time. Take a look. He's got 3 different ones. The Buggy Mike Buddy duel continues. There's no duel going on. And again, like before, Mike and I laugh most of the time. What's up? You know, it's always fun with everyone here, but we also had to get serious with business and stuff. And I was talking to Dwayne last week on his show and gave a lot of information about business. I was talking to Matt earlier today, where he gave me a phone call, and we were talking business. So this is a couple things. I'm going to talk about a few things here for a minute or two before I get to everyone here. If you're running a business, there's a few things that you have to look at. One of the things, and I've talked about this, Brian S. Red's talked about this, a few other people have talked about this, is your cost, your running cost. What does it cost to walk out the door? What does it cost for you to say, okay, fine, I'm going to take this event? And what I did today was actually break down one item for Matt. And this could work for anything. You can do this for anything that you do for your to your event. Now, this is how I do stuff, and this is why I do stuff. So I'll explain to you why. I come from corporate background with many years in management. I look at P&Ls. I look at what's coming in, what's going out. That also goes back to a P&L. I look at the financials constantly. Every month, we go through and we kind of look at what's happening. I can look at a spreadsheet very quickly, see the weddings we have, what we've taken in. I can look at like wedding shows. We have our wedding shows on a spreadsheet. How much the wedding shows cost? How many gigs we get out of that? How much money did we get out of those weddings for that wedding show? And that's your ROI, return on investment. So one of the things that like some of you guys do out there is, dancing on a cloud. You do sparklers. You do CO2 cannons. That's all has what's called COG, cost of goods. Your cost of goods are an important analogy to figure out what it actually runs for you to do said item. And I'm going to give you some basic math here. Roughly for Matt, when he goes to the facility to get the gas cylinder is a rental basically. It's kind of like, you rent the cylinder and the gas inside. You get the gas to expel. And I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying not to. Oh, excuse me 1 second here. Man. So the gas cylinder and filled with CO2 is about $70 per container. He gets 3 containers when he goes there. So it's basically 3 events he can do before he's got to return the old canisters and pick up new canisters. So what does that involve? Driving to the facility. So that's your gas. He has a business vehicle. So that's wear and tear in the vehicle. If it's your personal vehicle, Your minivan, your SUV, your pickup truck, your hybrid, your whatever. That's wear and tear in that vehicle. That's mileage. This is the one of the bad things about using a personal vehicle. You're putting a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle. Now, yes, you can get a tax credit from the government per mile, and they give you, I want to say it's, was it 62 cents or 60, I can't remember what it is for personal vehicles. Because we have a business vehicle, it's different because everything we use is for the business. So you have a vehicle, you take that vehicle, said vehicle, to pick up the container. You use gas, use your time. A couple questions you have to ask is how much, gas is roughly. Where Matt's at in California, it's like $4 a gallon for gas. So we're going to say, okay, over $4 a gallon. But we're going to say roughly around $4. We're also going to say that it's going to probably be a little bit more than a gallon of gasoline to go there and back. So wherever his vehicle gets, we're going to say maybe a gallon. If it's more distance, whatever, that's more money. So we're going to say $5 just for gas to go there and come back. We're going to say for mileage on the vehicle, again, he takes his business vehicle or wherever vehicle, he gets wear and tear, got to get an oil change, so forth. So all the stuff you get to put into the vehicle. Grabs a cylinder, $70 a cylinder, takes it back to the storage place. Now you are storing it in storage. That storage built room you are renting, if you don't have it at your house, you're paying per square foot for a rental. It could be $100, it could be $200, it could be $500, whatever it is. It's square footage that you're actually taking up space and you're having that item there. That's costing money to sit there. In retail, retailers always look at what is dollars per square foot. How much money can I make per square foot in a retail space? If I have shelving on units on the area, I have aisles. Aisles don't make money. Anywhere you walk, anywhere cash wraps, unless you have like retail in front or what's called basically your POS, point of service system, is there, and you have sale points there. That's where you can make some money there. But your product is at, that's where you make money on per shelf. So you have price per square foot. So you're storing that there for however long it is, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's costing you money. Your CO2 gun, your CO2 hose, any safety items you need. Do you need to chain it down? Because a lot of states, they require you to chain down cylinders. It's a safety thing. State law usually says that a lot of times. Are you following that? Are you doing that? You take that cylinder, you connect onto hose, you connect on the gun, and then are you using labor? Well, of course you are. Are you doing it, or are you having an employee doing it? Matt has a couple of guys that work with him. What do you pay that employee, and how long did it take to set up said item? So when we did some math today, rough math, this is rough math today, going through it. His cost is the gun divided by how many times it goes out, which he said about 30 times a year. He does CO2. Again, we're doing rough numbers. We're not doing exact, but this is something you can do with a spreadsheet. How much, $5 for gas, the cost of the cylinder and the gas inside there, the CO2 inside the cylinder, the hose, labor, rental, taking in and out of the storage, holding it there in storage. That one cylinder, one cost to do CO2 at an event, doesn't matter what the event is, that cost right there is about $178 is his cost. That's basically for beginning to end. And then taking the cylinder back out, again, more labor, putting it back in the vehicle, transferring it back to either storage or to the facility to exchange out. And that's every time it's going out about $178. Now, that's going to vary a little bit within a few dollars because there's variables there for every area is a little different. But you can say, okay, $178 every time it goes out. What does he charge every time it goes out? Does he charge $300? Does he charge $500? Does he charge $1,000? Whatever he charges for that service it should be above his cost. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is it's for you guys to think out there. What is your cost for things? And we all have costs. Again, we have cogs, batteries, again, stuff like that that you use once and throw away. Even charging your lights, that's electricity you're using. That's a cog. That's a cost of goods. You are, if you're going through things like Chris has his miniature golf, he's got to clean the balls. He's got to make sure linens are cleaned. When you wash stuff, like you wash, Brentley has those scrims, washing at your washer, soap, water, electricity, time. That's all stuff that you don't realize you're spending on your business. And that is why you have to look at what you are charging. When I see a DJ that's charging very little, I don't think they understand everything that goes into their cost. And they really did a very big cost analysis. Yeah, I am keeping it clean. When you're doing a very big cost analysis and looking through what things run, that's one example I gave for Matt today, that he didn't realize everything I broke down very quickly. And I can go deeper dive than that if I really wanted to. But I gave him a rough cost, $178 each time that cylinder goes out, because you get wear and tear on the gun. He bought the gun for $300. Goes out, the 30 times a year. Price of the gun divided by 30. That's the things you should be doing when you're doing things. When I add stuff on, what is my wear and tear on equipment? What is my wear and tear on stuff? What does it cost for me? How much for me, because I have a Sprinter, how much diesel does it cost me to transport that? When Jeff puts stuff in his Suburban, how much gasoline is he going through? How much wear and tear is he putting on the vehicle? Does he got to do an extra oil change, at least once or twice a year because the extra mileage he's putting on for the vehicle? Stuff like that all goes toward costs of your business. That's all that when you charge fees to cover those. And you want to make, and I know some people don't like the word, a profit afterwards. A profit doesn't mean you're taking that money, it's your money. It means the business is positive on that sale. So if your cost to walk out the door, my costs, $632 right now. I just got a bill today for my Astera guy for repairing of my two Asteras, and I'm getting another case. $1,000 I got to go on Thursday and spend. My cost as of Thursday, after I pay that, is going to go up a little bit. And very simple to figure out your cost to walk out the door. Yes, the stairs need repairs. So they got broken. Boards got cracked inside. This is a little thing you can do. You look at what you make in a year, how much money you make for a year, what your costs are for a year, divide that by how many events you have. So you know how many events you have. You got 20, you got 50, you have 1,000, whatever your events are. Divide that by how much money you have coming in. And then you divide that by what your cost is. How much money have you had to put in the business? How much money is the business making? That difference between the two of them, your cost is here. What you're making should be up here. There should be a nice little buffer between the two. The extra money is whatever. If you are it's making you sleepy. Well, again, obviously you're not, you don't want to make money, but that's okay. If you don't know your cost, this is what the things that you run into. This is how you separate a business person versus a person who is a weekend warrior, who goes for beer money. Those guys who charge a few dollars and they have no idea what they're doing. So, and again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because the fact that I see over and over and over again people charging different rates and stuff like that. And again, there's always going to be differences. But are you making money in your business? Are you going to look at 2026 and are you going to make money in your business? Or is it a charity? Is it are you putting your money in your own pocket into your own business? And is your business running you or are you running your business? So I'm going to go to Chris first. And Chris,
Yeah.
what I just talked about, what do you think?
What do I think about what, buddy? Like,
Well, as far as figuring out, how much money you're making, how much money you're putting out, because I know you just put a bunch of money out for your golf.
tremendous amount. And have I seen an ROI yet? No, it's not going to right now. Winter is going to be a little slower. I mean, I do have this one big event. I've already been paid in full. I just have to make sure I do it on December 12th. It's a holiday party. It's a very profitable event. And it's going to keep me open at least until spring. So if I get another event, again, that will put me out another couple months in the positive. But you got to keep money rolling in. You got to keep that cost down low. You still have to also spend the money on advertisements, to keep that business, that phone ringing, the email chimes coming in, to get inquiries, follow your leads, and get bookings, because you're not going to make it if you're not getting bookings,
Yeah, and again, you need to know what you're doing to get to make money, and just simple, so easy and simple. Matt, I'm going to go over to you because we were talking today, and we were going through that stuff, and we're going through your business a little bit. Did that give you a helpful outlook, a helpful thought on maybe really evaluating some how you charge?
Yeah, because I never thought of it that way, Um, I always kind of thought of it as, whatever what's the word I'm looking for? I just think of whatever my cost on an item is, but like I don't really factor in gas or advertising or any of that when I like do my pricing. I don't really think of it on like a per gig basis. I just don't, I don't really have good bookkeeping, but I kind of want to next year, or maybe invest in some sort of system that can, tell me a little bit more about how much I'm spending on ads and the ROIs and better receipt keeping, etc. I don't have that, so that's it's a little eye opening.
Well, again,
Think of it.
it's what makes money and pays bills. DJ Brantley also said in the chat that pricing isn't everything. No, it's not. It is not everything, and that's very true because what product are you giving for the customer? And some people look at that price, like Mike was saying, that customers don't see this; they want the cheapest price possible. Everybody says
that's
about
not
the
necessarily
vid.
true.
No, I don't believe that. There's some people out there, yeah, they chase price. I see it in DJ forums and stuff like that. They go chasing after, my wedding date's there. Give me a price. Okay, they're looking for the cheapest DJ possible. That right there doesn't mean that you have to be that.
No.
You, no, and Brantley, you're in a small market,
Oh yeah.
and what's the population of La Crosse?
Population of La Crosse and outlying. La Crosse is a tricky scenario though. With
Well,
the outlying, we're just under 100K.
Okay.
However, there are about, off the top of my head, about 125 wedding venues within 45 minutes of La Crosse. So, of this side of the state, it's the wedding capital. We are, and so, like you're saying, there are price-driven couples and price-driven DJs. Some in this market that I won't call out, but they don't offer a certain caliber and expectation of service that someone like myself, who is charging a minimum of $2,200 to walk out the door, and that's with my basic bottom of, I'm not putting much effort into it basically for equipment. You get a couple light bars, a couple no up lights, simple, sound and all that. And one thing Bill Herman stresses to me when we've talked a few times, that one, I should get rid of the low package and only sell my, better packages, because like I was talking before, our, every day on the calendar we have available for booking is our inventory, and we should be getting top dollar for it. Do we always? No. Do I cut deals? Yes, I still do cut deals, but there's a certain reason I will. If you're a teacher, yeah, I'm more than willing to work with you, especially the ones that are in the La Crosse school district. I know what direction you're taking your finances in. I'm more than, plus you're helping our future. I'm cool to cut them deals no matter what. And I even advertise it on my website. But when you're saying, knowing your entire expenses, I do mine a little bit differently. And this is from the Alan Berg process of it all. You have a rough idea of what you're going to be earning next year before you get into it. As I'm sure most of us, I'm fairly booked out. I only have 3 Saturdays left for next year, and a handful of Fridays I'm willing to part with, outside of my club schedule. So I know going into next year about what my gross is going to be. And obviously factoring in based on percentages, how much do I need to net of all of that to be comfortable, put money away? Okay, so I need, let's just say on the low end, it's $100,000. And I need a minimum of 60K of that or 50K of that to save, put away, and take care of my daughter, pay all my expenses, and all of that. So of the other 50,000, what percentage breakdown is for gear replacement, like you're saying, all the way down to washing your stuff, my dry cleaning, anything business related. I will look at, the last 2 years in a row, like dry cleaning isn't going to change much, except it's going to go up in pricing. The number of times I'm doing it isn't going to change that often because of how many weddings I generally have. All the way to how much gear I'm using, what I need. For example, this year, I said I'm not going to exceed $10,000 in equipment. I wasn't bad. I'm only at 11,000. And that was because I needed extra cables, things I didn't foresee needing when I made some changes in my gear. But every one of the things that are business-related expenses, thanks to the boss I had running the club in Chicago before I moved here, he made me think like an accountant. He showed me how to work his spreadsheets. He taught me how to use QuickBooks. And then for what I'm doing, I'm not using QuickBooks anymore. My spreadsheets are all formulated. They do exactly what I need. So at the end of the year, click. All right, like this year I owed $8,800 to the government, or last 24 to 20 for 24. This year I know it's going to be worse, and now I'm like looking, should I go and buy a few more pieces of equipment and bring that down a little bit? And yeah, common denominator said I should budget a few more thousand, bring that down. So I've got a Flex 10, some white moving heads that are battery powered coming in, and a few other odds and ends to level off how much I would actually spend in taxes. Because I would actually rather have the equipment than have to dump out more.
So you didn't get the new Bass Boss speakers?
No, I'm not that. No, and I can't. The one time I go looking for ICOA 18s in white, every place I looked was sold out. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
They don't make ICOA 18s in white.
I thought they did.
The ICOA subs, they make RCF subs in white.
Well, I thought
No.
the ICOA 18s were in white a couple years back.
No, they've never been in white.
And you have the gargantuan ones. Okay. Changes my whole perspective on this now.
Yeah, they make the tops in white that you have.
Yeah.
They don't make the
I thought they made bottoms in white.
no.
I could have sworn I'd seen some.
Nope. Unfortunately not, sir. Like I said, RCF makes a 18AX in white, and that's about $2,000 a piece. It's
That's
pretty solid
probably the
set.
route I'm going to have to go. I mean, I love for the first time ever, my AS2s, I got told to turn them down because I was shaking the chandeliers at Chapters on the Horizon.
Yeah. And those aren't even that powerful.
They're not, but they did the trick. But yeah, so like every column of financial expenditure I have for the business, I keep track of so I can quick, at the end of the year and procrastinate doing it so I can cry a little bit on sometime in April. I'll hold off and just hit the button until I hit the button on it. This year, I actually, because I put some money away, I'm just going to take care of it right as soon as I can file. But if you're not keeping track of it all, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like every expense you can possibly think of, if it's business related, can go somewhere in your ledger for tax preparation. Like things I never even fathomed until my old boss sent me some of this. And then my last accountant, who I cut loose in 2019, literally, I have all of her forms and whatnot. I know what to look for. And I know there's been some changes, but when you go to upload it onto the site, it won't let you do things unless you know what the change is. But yeah, it's definitely a helpful tool knowing that when you walk out the door, and mine's skewed more unlike the typical wedding DJ because of the club thing. I don't make the same money at clubs that I do at weddings, obviously. So when you're keeping track of all that, I really have to make that balance, like how much is each club gig worth, in the percentage, or versus a wedding, how much of that percentage is going back into recouping costs. So at the end of the year, I just say this is how much each aspect of the business should spend, no more. And I'm probably going to go over my advertising budget this year. But okay, so be it. I paid for a couple different ads going into next year and a couple more expos because I'm looking to move into and you can understand this, buddy. I'm in lacrosse. Why not go to the next two biggest markets outside of me, which is Rochester, Minnesota, and Madison, Wisconsin? There's more money to spend in those markets, hence, and I can get more money from couples. That's my goal there.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is knowing what it costs to walk out that door, and are you making money? Chris, I want to go back to you real quickly before I go to another person here. And Aaron just came in. Hey, Aaron, what's going on?
Hey guys.
He's Connecticut, New York area, not far from Chris. Him and Chris are going to hang out one day. They're going to go share pizza ideas again. Talking pizza again. Yes. Chris, I'm going to go back to you real quickly. Sure. I know we talked about this afterwards, in our little chat afterwards, and you have to get certain things that are through certain suppliers that are more expensive than if you went outside their chain and you took the logo and got it made by someone else. And I know that's a kind of a hard thing to do because the fact that, the cost can be twice as much or more through those certain suppliers. When you are looking at stuff, and again, I know that you've do due diligence looking at different vendors for similar products, color, shape, whatever. Have you found a lot of other vendors that you can use that are not through the authorized vendors from the association you belong to?
Yeah, I stuck with shirts that I found a particular style that I liked, because if I went with the national brand of shirt, it literally did cost a lot more money, but then the quality that they put into it, shall we say, I'll give it not screen printing, but embroidery, it was much smaller, even though the quality of the stitching is all signed. So I literally picked up shirts. It was literally half the cost of what going through this, the ends of land, which was, top quality shirts, but I don't know what they feel like. I don't know what the sizing of the embroidery is going to be. Actually, I do know it's only 2 inches, but when I went to my local vendor, it literally, I was able to choose a shirt, good quality shirt, something standard, and then the embroidery was literally twice the size, but my cost was negligible. It's a no-brainer. Cost me half, and I got the turnaround time in the same amount of turnaround time for getting things done. And they even did something extra. They even embroidered the name, personal names for the shirts at no additional cost, because it's all the same, and I ordered a certain minimal amount. I ordered like 12 shirts, cost me $400 some odd dollars. But if I went with the other company, it would have cost me almost $800 some odd dollars, and that didn't even include shipping.
And that's one of the key things there when you're looking at products. quality is important. Like Brentley said before,
Yep.
cost is not everything. Quality is an important thing. If you can get similar quality on a product, that will work just as well for you at a lesser price, sometimes you have to go into other supply chains.
Yep. I did just order something from our shall we say, vendor that's authorized to sell us,
The preferred vendor,
hot
yeah.
material, and it was relatively a good price. And I bought it, I received it. I'm like, this is awesome. This is actually a great piece, and it's a 7.5 foot backdrop. I purchased this item. Pricing I found was very comparable to other online only vendors, and I'm like, why not? I made that investment. And then there's a few things I asked them when I called them up, and they were actually answering my questions, sending me some feedback. They got me the information that day, and I received it very quickly. Okay. So certain items you can most certainly, if they're, say, generic, most certainly do a quick little hunting. Don't spend forever. You're going to waste your time trying to save pennies when you should be really saving dollars on going for certain things. Okay. This backdrop is a good investment. It was only $400. If I go online, all the other online vendors were literally a $20 difference. Okay. So negligible. I'm not going to continue hunting for another 2, 3, 4 hours. I take 10 minutes and I'm able to get the same information, but then I got to upload all my stuff that they need. How do I get this perfect? And you never know what the quality you're going to get from them. So now I know the brand that I ordered this item from is good, but there are items I think are just still overgouged, and they truly are. But I will discuss that with the brand
Oh yeah,
owner
that's something that you can
later.
talk to them about the
Yeah.
vendors and stuff like that. Hopefully get some more
And
vendors.
even
But
I'm sure he's making it like he's a franchise, that he's making a profit off it. I'm like, I already pay you a fee for the licensing of the brand. Where are we going to go on from this? Okay. Do you want to increase your fee because you want to do more things? I'm okay with that. But let me know what you're trying to do. We all are probably like that. The number of us that are authorized to use this brand for business, and we are all quite very happy with what he's trying to do. We know he's got multiple successful brands under his belt, under his corporation, and he just makes money. Everything he's done, he's got the golden touch, So we all trust him, but there's certain things I'm like, you didn't come forward fully with this. You didn't come forward fully. Understand exactly how much you need to spend before you make that investment, and know what it's going to take for you to get that ROI and ROI quickly. That's really what matters.
That's another key thing there too, which we talked about. I talked about Dwayne's show is ROI, return on investment. And it's how much money you're putting in on something, how quickly you can get that money back on something. Like, again, Matt's going back to Matt's CO2 guns.
Correct.
Again,
Well, you have consumable
$178.
product right there. Right. That CO2 is consumable. You have to continue buying it over and over and over again. Where if I'm using this prop, it's a one-time purchase until either something damages it, or does it have wear and tear? Yes and no. But if you take care of it, it's now a controllable expense.
You still get wear and tear on it, though. You still get wear out. Is the fabric wears out there a while. It's like anything else.
But you should already have that planned ahead of time. What's the lifespan of that item? Okay. Is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be 12 years?
Yep.
If it's 12 years, it's nothing to you. Okay.
Yep.
Based on the number of events you're going to have in a year. If it's going to be only 2 years, now you're really limited, and you better plan on spending for every gig. You better take out $10, or $5 to set aside for that item to be replaced.
You should always take out stuff in reserve. Remember, I said there's profit afterwards. That profit should be held, so you have money, and then you start looking at stuff, saving money for the future for stuff. I'm going to go over to Jeff. Jeff's been, again, running around with the kids and stuff like that, but he's still DJing. He has his gig logs up on YouTube, and he, running around doing, events at schools and weddings and parties and stuff. Jeff, on your business, and again, you did it originally part-time. Now you're doing it more full-time because you got a chance to retire your regular full-time job like Dwayne and more focus onto the business side of things. Since switching over from one side to the other, Is there any big thing that you didn't recognize before that now you recognize, that now you're more deeply into the business side of DJing?
No, not really. I am still doing about, the amount of gigs that I like to do a year, and I don't want to do any more than that. So it is still a part-time basis. When I retired from my day job, I did not retire to do more work. So I am doing the amount of work that I like to do. And so, no, I mean, it's for me and my pricing, it's a little different from a full-time DJ. I do not offer a lot of the extra services. I don't have a photo booth. I don't anticipate getting one, just because I don't really need to branch out into those areas. So my pricing, the people that hire me for the specific things that I do, and I try to do that as well as possible. With high integrity, great equipment, and yeah, I look at the dollar amount that it costs, but I'm also not replacing it every year or every 2 years. I'm still running, the same speakers that I've had for 5 years, and they're fine because I only run maybe 30, 40 gigs a year, so I'm not killing them and I'm not tearing stuff up. So, plus, being in the TV business for years, I learned how to take care of my equipment. So, it's just one thing that, I learned to do a long time ago, coiling cables the right way, little things. But for me, the people that hire me are the ones that know what I do. And I don't really want to compete with a lot of the DJs that offer a lot of different services, because yeah, they're going to be a little bit more pricey, but a lot of people don't want that or need that. And those are the ones that will come to me. So yeah, it is I could charge more, but I prefer not to. I don't want to start getting into that upper level of, okay, now that I'm charging this, I must buy this to supply this to these venues or these clients. So I'm happy where I am. So for me, like I said, it's a little different from other DJs, but I'm happy with the amount of work that I'm doing.
And one of the things also, again, because you had many years in television production and understanding protection of gear, putting in cases and stuff, I will tell you, when I see your gear in your gig logs, again, all the DJs here take care of their stuff. You're one of the DJs I always see that the stuff looks mint condition. It's clean. It's organized. It is something that you see someone who takes care of their equipment. And there's some DJs out there, unfortunately, that don't, and they do gig logs. And I can't think, there's not anyone here, but I've seen them put speakers up. They have dents in the grills, scratches, scuffs, cables have, stuff stuck on them. And that's one of the things that, taking care of your gear is one of the ways you don't have those expenditures down the road, because stuff will last longer the more you take care of it. And that's an investment. So when you invest money, like, you have what, the 28s, right? The G28s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, not a cheap speaker, very, very good from LD Systems. And they haven't really come out with a new model of the systems yet. But if they do, if Jeff wants to get a new set, that's up to him. But even if they come out with a new model, his current model he has could still go for many years ahead, look good, sound good, and is there. Just like everyone here does, something goes wrong, you can send in it for repair, you get it fixed. If not, you're replacing it. But again, if you don't have to put the expenditure out, why do it? Why spend that money if you can protect your gear and make sure your gear looks good? Especially white gear, it's always harder to keep clean. And Jeff knows it. I know it. Brentley knows it. Matt knows it. I think Aaron's got some white gear. Aaron,
not anymore. No. I when the whole white fad was really jumping in hot, I bought an all-in-one media console, and I bought it white, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm one of the cool kids now. And man, after a year of having that thing, I said, F this, man. I just like spray painted it. It's black as night now. It matches everything. I'm like, all right, and we're back. You know what I mean? And it's just for me, it's not even a preference thing. It's just like with the quantity of events that we do, having gear that is easier to maintain is more important to me than just staying trendy. You know what I mean? So
Well,
With the
it's
trending, couldn't you also increase that cost? Well, not cost, increase your income for having that specialty item now, because it's not necessary. If they want white, they're demanding it. Yeah, jack up that fee and to make it worth your while again.
well, yeah. I mean, there's obviously specialty items and stuff. I mean, Connecticut is a very small state, and I mean the market here
That's
is
a big money state too.
yes and no, because there's the premise that I think a lot of folks think Connecticut is like literally all wealthy. It's literally
No.
it's 5 towns on the Gold Coast, close to New York. That's about it. The rest of the state, you know, I mean we've got bankers here. We also have rednecks here, so and everything in between. But the majority of the venues and events and stuff, they're really, really controlled by the venues. And I say that because it's very much a what's the word I'm looking for? Man, I can't think of the name. Wedding Factory. We have a
Yep.
ton of those here. So most of the venues, like they're doing 2 to 3 a day. There's some venues that have 4 rooms in their venue. They could conceivably do like 8 in a day, which that does happen sometimes. So
Same.
because of that, like we're looking at a lot of things like guys are just in and out. The faster you can get in a place and out of a place, the better. So for me, the specialty stuff is cool if you can pull it off, because you have to work within the constraints of what the venue requires. For me, I mean, it's like I may not have white gear anymore. However, what we can do is we can do other enhancements and lighting and things like that, special effects. And a lot of that here, we have a lot of folks that subcontract stuff. So especially out of New York. So if we have somebody that is a transplant from New York, Westchester, around those areas, are like, you know what? I always wanted to have, a 40 by 40 glow dance floor and a robot that glows and dances. Yeah, we can do that for you. It's going to cost you about 10 grand to do it, but yeah, we can make it happen. And it's a phone call.
But
And that's the beauty
one of
of
the
that
things,
too.
gear aside, for business wise, when we were talking before, I know you came in a little bit later, but I was talking
Sorry.
about how to figure out what it costs for an item. And I did a kind of a basic breakdown because I was talking to Matt about
Sure.
what it costs for him to go out with one canister of CO2, and it's about $178. That's
Sure.
driving back and forth, the materials, your cogs,
Yep.
wear and tear on the gun, hose, putting it into a storage, paying for that storage spot,
Sure.
advertisement. We're going through a bunch of stuff, about $178 for each time it goes out. Now, what he charges, hopefully it's more than $178.
Right.
And one of the things I was getting to on this is that with all of that right there, your costs are going out. Is there something again like again, Jeff was working a full-time job. Now he does this because he's retired. And he said that, he doesn't want to make this a full-time job. He wants to do a set amount of events. That's fine.
Sure.
That's not a problem. And I'm sure Jeff is making money because, Jeff, on the business, because, he should be. The work he puts out is great. And just like Dwayne's also retired and now doing DJing too. And he was doing DJing before he retired. It's stuff like that, when you're looking at to make money and to make profit, is there anything that you look at when you go and do stuff that you're like, okay, fine, great, I can make money on this, add this onto an event that's going to cost me very little, and I can make more profit that way?
Well, for me, I mean, I'll give you an idea here. So I made an investment this year in some uplighting, and I think my cost on the uplighting was somewhere north of 4 grand, we'll call it. And so in looking at that, I said to myself, okay, what's the duty cycle of these lights? How much am I going to get out of them truly? Most electronic components like that, I mean, medium usage, you're looking at, we'll call it 5 years. As a rule, I try to turn over my core equipment every 5 years because we beat the living snot out of it. We maintain it, but we beat the snot out of it because it's always on the road.
So how many gigs
that-
a year do you do?
This year, with what I booked today for this year, we're at 222.
Okay, and then how many times do you do uplighting for those gigs? Half?
That was going to be my next thing. So if we put in the 4 grand to purchase that item, and I say, all right, I want to make my money back no more than, let's say, 4 events. So we're going to say, after 4 events, I made my money back. After that, we're talking profit. So now, once I've made my money back on that ROI, everything else is like, let's get them out in the field as often as possible at that same price point. So now, it's no longer like am I making money thing, or is it like, is this an add-on that's value added to the client that I'm now profiting $1,000 more than I would without it? So that's how I do that. And that's how I make all my purchases with anything I buy. There's some folks, you brought up the CO2 cannon. It's a semi-popular option here in Connecticut. I've got 3 vendors that own them. So for me, it's like, do I make that initial investment and get it and do what everybody else is doing? Or do I just say, we're probably going to do that 3 times a year. Tell me what you want for it. I got it. And you use that to kind of sweeten the deal. You've got your core packages, what you're trying to sell there. If this is an enhancement that somebody really wants, I call so-and-so, it comes to me. Maybe I'll make a little bit on it, maybe I won't, but they're happy because they made money on it. The client's happy because they get what they want. And I have like the bulk of the profit on that because, I'm selling the service. So, I mean, there's 100 different angles you could look at whenever you're trying to price stuff out.
One of the key things that you said is how many times realistically is the item going to go out? And that is a question you have to ask yourself anytime you invest into something.
Anything.
Like I ordered, it's hopefully it'll be here soon, is a photo booth from Sean. And, I paid money for it. And I bought a tablet and stuff like that. I'm looking right now at like, I'm over 2 grand in that because there's incidentals and stuff like that.
You did good.
And yeah, it's again, just basic selfie booth, panel, tablet, so I'm looking over 2 grand for that.
Sure. Yep.
And again, I'm still looking at stuff adding on to it because I still haven't gotten the unit. And hopefully I'll get at the end of December. And it's the question I had before I even pulled the trigger on it is how many times can I get it out in a year? Can I get it out a minimum of 5 times? Can I get it out a minimum of 10 times? Can I get it a minimum out of 20 times? So these are questions you have to ask yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the things I asked Matt. How many times a year does he do CO2? He said he does it 30 times a year on average. How many gigs does he do total? He does 100 gigs. Okay.
Yep.
Basically almost a third of his gigs, he does CO2. So again, that $178 is what it costs for him. Fuel, storage, his insurance, advertisement, everything like that runs into things. And just like you with the uplighting, that $4,000 is initial investment in the equipment. You still have running costs every time it goes out, labor, fuel, everything else in there. And you're charging, let's say, I'm going to throw a number. I don't know what you charge. I don't want to know, but I'm just going to throw numbers out there. $500 for it to go out.
It's 1,000, but
okay, $1,000 for it to go out to light up a room. Then again, it technically 4 times it goes to pay for the unit back, and then every time it goes out, you're probably making profit wise on it about $700-800 because you still have labor, you still have fuel, you still have insurance, you still have all these other costs in there, advertisement, storage, charging
Yeah.
it, all their stuff. So it's a money making thing after
Yeah.
you take out all your things. And this is the thing I'm getting to tonight is, are you making money in your business? Now,
God, yeah.
Dwayne and I did a show last week on his show about this. And
Mhm.
I told him a bunch of stuff for like insurance and a few other things for him to kind of get, have him understand a few things, stuff that he did not know. And
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, Dwayne, I'm going to come to you. From last week when I talked to you about that stuff, and again, a little bit more stuff tonight, has that helped you at all to look at what you're trying to do to make your business more profitable and also help you out to be a better business owner?
Not word for word what you said, but because my whole thing is I'm almost like Jeff, because and then also I'm not just a DJ. I do several different things. So I'm different than a lot of full-time DJs in the fact that their household is based on their DJ income. So I have a lot of income coming in. So basically my DJ money is more so if I want to go out and splurge, I can splurge and I get that money right back. So as far as the business things like the insurance and tax purposes, that what you had told me on Thursday was helpful because I thought it would be this tax season, but it's actually next tax season where I won't have that umbrella of my school job. To because lately I've been like doing deductibles for my DJing things, but then they were using income from my teaching job and then all my other endeavors that I do along with the DJing. So that's going to change. So now the deductibles that I was normally taking off, it's gonna fall different. So therefore I have to like watch what I spend. So going back to your question is more so I don't look at it as when I go out how much it costs for me to go out as far as gas, batteries, and all those knickknacks. I've just been looking at when I go out, is it worth my time? Because it got to the point where when I go there, because I used to charge reasonable prices. I would say that. But then a lot of times I end up after the gig, it was like I put in more work and I feel empty. So now it's like I'm charging more than, so when I go out, I feel like I actually got something, back.
Wow.
So that's how I look at it. And then two, it's just basically just trying to keep my spending down. If I don't have to buy that, then I'm not going to buy it just because I see somebody else buying it or because somebody else is doing that. It's like I have to look at my market, and it's just like when you first start off and people ask you what kind of client do you want to DJ for. So that's how I look at it. I look at my clients don't necessarily need, all the lavish kind of things. They just want to have a good time. So my thing is my equipment, I'm not going to spend something super, expensive that I don't really need to satisfy what the kind of jobs that I'm doing. So that's how I approach it. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that again, this is to help people make informed decisions for their business. One other thing also, Aaron, because I know you have connections with products, and again, if you guys are not following Aaron, you got to go follow him. He's got a lot of great connections, and he can get some products for you if you guys are looking for products. I'll have his Facebook link down below. One of the things is Brentley. You were asking about LD ICOA subs in white 18.
Yeah.
Aaron, do you know if they have a white one or it's just they don't have? They're all just black.
Let me check right now.
I'm telling you, they don't. I would know.
I thought they did. I could be
They
totally
don't.
wrong
We
because I
got
saw.
we got two different thoughts. I'm like, I want to
One
bring something
more-
partial.
I would have bought them in a
What-
heartbeat, bro. If they had them in
What-
white, I would have bought them in a heartbeat.
Do me a favor. One more time with the model, please. LD. What?
ICOA LD.
LD Systems ICOA subwoofer.
Thank you. Let's see.
The IKOA Pro tops they have in white, I think.
Yeah.
Even the no, they don't, not yet. They're making the
Hmm.
IKOA Pro top in white. That's what they told me, but it's not. There's no release date yet. You have the regular IKOAs, but
Yeah.
you sold those, didn't you?
No, I still
Those
have them.
garbage. Oh yeah. You'll if they do make them in white, definitely upgrade to the IKOA Pros. That's phenomenal difference.
Yep.
Obviously.
Nothing in white currently for the sub.
Okay.
No.
There you go. All right. So
All right,
Fred
CF it
asked
is.
a question before, and this is and I'll get a couple different thoughts here. Talk about DJ charging enough. Let's say not including the wedding DJ part. How much would you guys charge for the equipment part alone? Say delivery, setup, breakdown of 2-column array speakers, mics, mixer, 25 lights, and dance floor lighting. So the question is, are you renting that equipment? Are you DJing that equipment? Could you just set it up to rent the equipment and someone else is running it? Or is that something that you're setting up? Is that something you're setting up to DJ? You know, you're DJing a different event. That would be a question I would have for you. Buddy, don't believe solstice. It's not a question I don't believe. Again, Matt knows his stuff. I'm not saying, but you know, there's a difference between the two. And I know Aaron also sells gear. So it's like, okay, hey, you know what? Ask another person. It's not for anyone to fight her with that. It's just, you know, hey, we can settle it once for all. Again, Matt knows his stuff.
Trying to wrap my head around the question. So it sounds like that the person is asking, you know, what would you charge if you rented out the gear? Is that what they're asking?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're renting the gear more than they're
Okay.
doing a DJ.
Okay.
And again, I'll read it again. Talking about the DJs charging enough, let's say not including the wedding service part, how much would you guys charge for equipment part alone? Say setup and breakdown of 2-column array speakers, mics,
Yep.
mixer, 25 up lights, and dance floor
Yep.
lighting. Here's one of the things
Okay.
I see in that. When I see a number of up lights, you never want to sell by numbers. You always want to sell
No.
by what is needed. If you
Yep.
need 10 up lights and you said 25, the person's going to want a refund. If you didn't have 25 lights and you said, hey, I gave you 25 lights, you got 24 lights because the 25th light didn't fit, person's going to want a refund. If you need more lights, then the thing is that people are going to be like, it looks like bad. I spent this money for all these lights. That's why when you do a lighting pricing or a light quote, you never say how many units. You quote it based upon what is needed for said event. And that's the way you should always word it, is needed for the event. You know, for that right there, for basically a rental like that, and I'm going by mixer, I'm going by regular audio mixer, 2 speakers, 2 column, depending on which one it is. Are we talking J8s or are we talking Maui 44s? Are we talking about, you know, EV, you know, 90s? Are we talking about 30s? Are we talking about Maui 5s? There's a lot of variables there. So this is the thing I would say, and again, I'll go around the room. 2 medium 12-inch sub arrays. So a J8, that would be a Eval 50, something around there, even like a KC 12 for if you want to go KC, something like that. A audio mixer, you know, like you know, a 10-channel basic audio mixer, uplights for around the room, dance floor lighting. So it depends what that is. Is that a gig bar? Is that tube lighting? Is that, you know, there's more there. Mics, are they wireless? Are they wired onto stands? So again, that's another thing there. But I would say 2 wireless microphones, an audio mixer, up lights to light up a room, you know, nicely doing architectural lighting, dance floor lighting. I'm going to go easy and go, I'm going to go 2 gig bars because a lot of people love the gig bars, and 2 mid-size arrays. I would probably say for that part right there would be at least, you know, at least $1,000 for a rental. And that, right, and again, it all boils down to how elaborate of work you have to put into it. If it's, you know, an hour for setup and set everything up and you walk away, fine and great. If it's 2 hours for setup, that's going to eat more into there. It's going to cost. It all boils down to complications. That's the thing I look at. Chris, what is your 2 cents
My
on that
thoughts
one?
on. I'm glad you came to me first on this one. Uh, Based on all that gear, you got to think about what you spent in getting that gear prepared. Okay, getting it ready, and what you're going to be able to offer. And usually, I think around the rule of the thumb, you really want to charge about 20% of what that gear costs you for a rental service. So
Mhm.
20%. If you want to go lighter, means you're not going to use the gear as often. You need want to do more events within a year. Then go 10%. Okay, saves the client a little bit of money. You might get a little bit few more bookings, but you're going to do a little bit more work. Okay, so just the cost of gear alone, 20% of what that gear costs is what you should be charging to rent that out, because you're going to have maintenance and wear and tear on any of that stuff. Okay, there are consumable aspects, batteries if they are wireless, especially for the uplights. The batteries are going to get consumed. Things are going to get scratched because they're going to need buffing out later. So be it. But all the rest of the gear is going to be on lower maintenance, just cleaning off some of the dust and making sure it doesn't get scratched. Now, you're just renting the gear. That doesn't include the protective pieces that you're purchasing, the extras, like wire covers, bags to transport the stuff. That doesn't even include your transportation cases. Well, some of the uplights come with them now with that, but you're talking about speaker stand bags. They don't always come with them. You're not including your microphone covers that you might need for an event. Um, the extra wire connectors, all that stuff is never included, but it can add up quickly, and that's why you
Well,
charge.
what would you say a roundabout charge you would feel good if someone came to you and said, give me these are things you outline. What would be a roundabout price you would look at for rental of that gear?
A roundabout price for that rental of that gear. Um, for the speakers, you know, if I'm going to send them out, I'd probably say about $400 or $500 just for the speakers. If you want all the extras, or like a microphone, an extra 50 to $100 right there, for a wireless microphone. If you're going to need a mixer console for like a controller, you're going to add another $200-$300 right there just for that. So you're already talking just without any of the speaker stands,
You're great.
bags, lighting. You're looking at $1,000 right there, just as a quick off.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what I
And
was
now
looking
what
at,
about
$1,000.
labor, setting up and breaking down? How much is that person who am I going to do it, or that person who I'm going to hire go do it, or transport it? That could be an all day thing. You got to pay for downtime. If I'm going to go out and find a young college student, how much is he thinks he's going to get paid per hour? It's probably going to be somewhere between $20 and $25 an hour. And he's going to have to stay for the whole event. He's not going to run back home and head off. You're going to pay him for the whole entire kit and caboodle time of probably $300-$400.
So like sound random. Sound is 500, uplighting's 30, a fixture.
Mm-hmm.
Dance floor lighting is $600 for 2 gig bars. Travel's $1
Yeah,
a mile. Is that $1 going there, $1 coming back? What about labor?
probably
There's
both ways. It's
yeah,
probably both ways.
there's things you always got to look at. And dollar a
Yep.
mile, I don't charge for mileage. I look at overall
He
what the
must have a
cost of
lot of
fuel.
bridges or tolls. So if he's taking a highway,
That again,
so
that's all that's we built into the
again,
price. So
yep,
depending on how many uplights that you need, again, he doesn't say 25, which is good. And that's
right.
just some nice numbers right there. Matt, what
Yep.
about you? What do you think about that? Uplights, 2 speakers. What would you think roundabout price for something like that
Like to rent or with DJ
to
service?
rent?
Like if
That's what he's
some
asking.
DJ hit me up, or like
Sorry, what?
just a client hit me up
A
It's just
DJ hit
general
you up, I'd
question.
say. Yeah.
for uplights, 2 speakers, and what else?
Two microphones,
Dance floor lighting.
some dance floor lighting, and a mixer.
Well, I don't like to rent my stuff, but
If you would.
if I
If you
would
did.
and they would take care of it and they picked it all up,
No, you deliver
like,
it, you set it up, and you
oh,
go back, grab it, and bring it back in.
yeah, give me $1,000 for that. And it
Thousand
has to be on a
dollars.
date that I'm not like booked on, because like if I have to pay somebody $200 to pick all that up and tear it down
Smaller.
and give them my van or a big car, like, it almost gets to the point where I'm like, is it worth $500 to risk my stuff coming back dented or scratched, or and them saying, "Oh, sorry," So my buddy rented his KC12s to a friend of his, and they came back scuffed, you know. And the guy said, "Oh, pay for new grills." You can't buy new grills for those. You have like, it's not
They don't
that
understand wear
simple.
and tear.
Not a fender, buddy.
If you've ever anybody here had like the QSC K10.2s or the 12.2s and ever put them face down on their cart, you know exactly where those two sets of dents are on the grill because the grills are too soft, and people would always put their speakers on the bottom of the cart, and it would match up perfectly with a rock and roller cart. Happened to me too. You know, if you ever did that, you realize how hard it is to find replacement grills for like 10.2s. They had them for the 12s, but the 10.2s were impossible. And yeah, so most speakers that I will not let anyone else transport my speakers or subwoofers unless they're in the flight cases, because like if anybody's gonna dent it or
You.
get it smudged
It'll
or
be
messed
you.
up, it's gonna be me. So
Yeah.
I don't want to
But
get
then
mad
you know
at
how to
somebody.
repair it, and you know how to repair it cheap and the right way the first time.
Yeah,
So-
literally first gig I brought my 8008, the first one I had. I bought a new one recently, but well, first 8008 I had, first gig we took it out to. It was sitting in the back of the van, and I had my photo booth cart against the wall strapped down, and there's a printer on the top of all the photo booth stuff stacked up, and we hit a turn kind of hard, and the printer, 60 pounds in a flight case, goes right on the top of where the subwoofer was, leaves a nice dent in it. First gig.
Nice.
I was able to actually take that grill off and bend it back in place though. So, shout out to RCF. But again, that's bad. Like you shouldn't be able to do that. Like if you're saying that your product is made with this, you know, crazy amount of engineering in the grill, but like it dents or scratches too easily, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
These companies just-
manufacturers you got to look at. Now, I'm going to ask really quickly from the rest of the crew, and you guys can just raise your hand. Who thinks about $1,000 would be a good price for rental of, again, two speakers, two column speakers, mixer, two microphones? Again, I'm using gig bars for example, or something like that, and some uplighting to uplight a room. Setup, tear down, $1,000 basic for that, not including DJ, not including you. Basically $1,000. Who thinks that would be an okay price? Okay, Brentley, me. Okay, again, $1,000. Roughly, just basic. Again, we're not. And Chris is saying no.
I'm going to tell you why right now. It's really
Okay.
quick because it's going to have to do with the aftermath.
Yep.
I'm going to have to clean that stuff up afterwards if I'm not the one setting up. So that's an extra labor time that's not incurred for me looking over the gear and make sure it works in pristine order again after that event is done and over, since I'm not the one using it and setting up and breaking it down. Well, I'll be setting up, breaking down, obviously, but there's still afterwards, because I actually had to rent some lights to a fellow DJ, and when I got it back, it was not packed up correctly. I had to redo all the wiring. I had to make sure all the lights were in its right proper positions so it stayed in its case properly. So the bag or the case doesn't get ruined or wrecked from the equipment shifting during transportation. It's that little extra stuff that could either ruin your gear or put you out of business if that's your only set,
Well, this is the other thing.
It's-
You need to have additional pieces of gear. You can't just send your main gear out. This is something
No.
again, this is rough stuff. There's more questions I have, and that would definitely affect the pricing. He said just to rent, set up, tear down, the equipment alone would cost more than a lot of wedding DJs charge. This is true. A lot of
alone
wedding
is sad.
DJs would probably go and take that gig for $500. And that right there is not enough. And again, uplighting, there's a lot of questions I had. This is stuff you talk to the client and see what's going on. Okay, Brentley, you got to go. See you later, man. His daughter, he's got to go take care of his daughter. She's got stuff going on. She asked for help. So that's one of the things you got to look at is there's more questions than answers, but I'm just going really rough guess, and I'd probably go up from there. But $1,000 roughly. Okay.
I just want to jump in.
Go ahead.
Really quick
Go ahead.
because
Go ahead.
this is. I think it's kind of important to really think about. I mean, all this obviously numbers are important, and this is a pretty common question. I think a lot of people have. How much do you charge for this? How much do you charge for this? I only charge this. I only charge that. Whether you're hosting the event or whether you're renting equipment for the event. Everything that we do in the entertainment industry is, in fact, end result based. So I guess prime example of this, I DJ'd in Miami. I had to rent gear from, sorry to say, PSAV. Large audiovisual company, has a lot of hotels. They're just a conglomerate.
Oh yeah.
And, I think I spent about $1,000 on one QSC 18 sub and two K12s. Those K12s were sitting on stands. The grills were rusted. The thing was scuffed to beat the band. And yeah, they worked. Yeah, they were loud. Yeah, we didn't have any distortion, but they looked like garbage. And this was at like a white glove event. So, I would say, kind of along with Chris, if you're sitting there with, the 20% rule, so to speak, I think that's fair, because if somebody's coming to you saying, you know what, I don't have the gear to pull this off, you do, and I want to have a great end result because I know you have quality equipment, you're going to pay for that quality. And, I think too many times we get wrapped up in piecemealing stuff with, like, okay, let's do $200 for this, $300 for that, $500 for that, or let's do, how many uplights do I bring, and so on and so forth. It's the end result, like through and through. If you're doing an airplane hangar, two Evolve 50s are not going to get the job done. You want to go for disbursement. Will it be loud? Sure. But do you want to beat the snot out of that gear to try to push it as hard as it can go? Or do you want to rent double or triple that to make sure that you're not beating the snot out of the gear and the room is covered effectively? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's...
Yep. And the other part, the part you're bringing up there is, what's the ultimate goal of the event?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron just said he had two K12s and an 18 and sub for an event. Was that too much or too little? Like, those are things you got to figure out. And just like, again, your question, Fred, is, two arrays, two microphones, to this. It's kind of, again, there's more questions that are there that need to be answered.
So many.
So this is something that you need to, if you're talking to someone, you need to really look at. And again, what is your cost? What is your exposure to things? If it's your equipment, it's in good shape. Is there a chance it could come back damaged? Yes. And then you got to buy replacement parts. And I can tell you, RCF replacement parts are pretty easy to buy, hard to get, because usually long wait time for it.
Oh yeah.
They're very easy to sell you to you. It just takes a long time to get it. I replaced my poles a few times, and the poles are not outrageously expensive for the sub poles. To go from the top to the bottom, that pole is outrageously expensive. It just took a long time to get them. The other part also is that, like, the bags I have for my poles, they're beat up, they're older, they're falling apart. I can't get replacement bags for them, which kind of stinks.
You have alternate options for that if you want to go for generics. But when it comes to the actual main items, like, I literally just had to buy replacement pieces for some Ultimate stands, and the part pieces, they're going to take almost 2-3 weeks to get to me. And I'm like, what happened?
That doesn't really work.
That doesn't work. What happened to like a 2-3 day delivery, an option that's not next day? I mean, granted, this stuff sometimes is sold on Amazon. You get it within a day or two, but I understand going through another vendor 3, 4, 5 days, but they said 3 weeks. I says, wait a minute, where is this stuff? This stuff is already supposed to be here. What do you have to mold the aluminum, out to get it to form? Like,
it seems sometimes they slow walk it to the from one side of the warehouse to the other side. I understand they're busy and they have stuff going on, but some of these manufacturers, they can get stuff out a little quicker when it is. If it's not here, if it's offshore, if it's in Europe or in China or in Canada or whatever, then tell me, hey, it's not here in the U.S. RCF's in Italy. It's still in Italy. We got to get it from Italy. It's got to ship via whatever and go through customs.
But that doesn't help when someone has an emergency case situation. They don't want to sell parts to fix something. They just want you to buy a brand new item. So now your cost is going to go up, but no client is going to want to see that cost.
Right.
And that hurts our bottom line.
Here's one more trick for you. If you are ordering a replacement part, don't order one, order two. because the likelihood of you replacing it more than one time is there. So if you order a grill, yeah, they're maybe $80. You maybe buy 2 of them for $160, but you'll replace the other grill one time or another. It's easier to have both of them there and to replace it when it comes up than ordering another one and going through the pain of a long wait.
But if it's just an accident, buddy, now you got to factor in. Now you have to store that piece, that extra piece, and that what can happen to that extra piece. Now, a lot of people
there's always a flood,
that catch,
tornado.
It's a catch-22. It literally is.
Yep.
I'm not going to buy 4 speakers, you know, and to have extra parts for every single one of them. It's like, you know, what's going on?
Yeah, one of the guys said they have a contract for rentals, and it says if they mess up the equipment, they pay for either a replacement or the repair of it. That's another thing. You have an agreement for rental.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Well,
guys, we're going to get out of here for tonight. I appreciate it. And again, Ransom, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you talking. And again, some good information right there, what they would probably charge. Make sure that, again, you always tune in. You never know what we're talking about. We go through a lot of conversations here and a lot of stuff. Again, this was a bigger one, a longer show because of all the stuff about business stuff. And there's a lot to think about. So when you're sitting back dreaming about that new piece of gear, or you're dreaming about that gig to get, there's more than that. There's a lot to owning a business. And don't forget, you want to make some money, pay your bills, but those bills always are there. So with that said, I'm going to actually have, yes, I'm going to have Chris take us out tonight. Chris, if you don't mind, send us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to the DJ Roundtable. We're going to all check you next week. Please give us a thumbs up right there on YouTube land. Also, make sure you ring that bell to get notifications and subscribe, and share it with everybody else out there. Please, we could definitely use all that help we can. We will see you all next week.
Good night, everyone.